clarify something, because there's a lot of people over the years, I can think of at least 3 people, I'm not gonna name them because I can't be bothered, that have run their mouth chatting about they wrote my film. Nobody wrote my film. I wrote Kidulthood, me.
You wrote Kidulthood.
I wrote it, me, that's it. Do you know what I mean? That be all and end all. I've seen people like, I wrote my part, I wrote this, that and the other. Let me remind you, in case you don't remember, and feel free to tag them and every other news channel you can think of, right?
So this situation backfired quite horribly, and Noel Clarke's in a situation where he's owing millions of pounds. Let's break it down. So there was a bunch of allegations against Noel Clarke and a massive lawsuit pending. I said I'll do a longer video, so here we are. So there were alleged incidents of misconduct between 2004 and 2021, including on sets of Kidulthood, Brotherhood, Doctor Who, and other projects. More than 20 women later reported experiences of harassment, bullying, or witnessing inappropriate behaviour. No formal complaints were made at the time, partly because Clarke had a rising influence in the industry. To get straight into it, BAFTA announced Noel Clarke as a recipient of the Outstanding British Contribution to Cinema Award, highlighting his diversity work. That announcement triggered some women to speak out, fearing it would amplify his power in the industry. They went to The Guardian. The paper published an investigation after interviewing around 20 women who had worked with Clarke professionally. Follow-up pieces, several articles and a podcast expanded on those testimonies, including claims about professional misconduct and sharing of explicit material without consent. The press reporting the witness statements alleged a pattern of behaviour including unwanted physical contact such as groping or inappropriate touching on sets, including an alleged incident in Los Angeles in 2015, pressing himself against women in rehearsals, attempts to kiss women without consent after nights out, sexually inappropriate comments about women's body, including remarks on weight and attractiveness, suggestions of sexual acts in professional meetings, for example, asking whether someone was up for it, sharing unsolicited explicit images and videos, including allegations that he shared a sex tape without consent, and pressuring women to send nude photos with implied or explicit links to career prospects. There were also repeated allegations of bullying and demeaning conduct on sets such as Kidulthood, Adulthood and Brotherhood, with the reports of shouting, public humiliation, threats about roles and payments, and a hostile work environment. There were specific allegations from various sets. On Doctor Who, an actress said Clarke made inappropriate comments and advances. On another project in 2014, an allegation exists that he locked a woman in a room and propositioned her. On a 2018 set, an actress described pressure into an improv scene with sexual overtones against her will. Those were a selection of the incidents that later formed the basis of reporting and of witness statements. Clarke denied any sexual misconduct, offered apologies if anyone felt uncomfortable, and vowed to defend himself.
A lot of people will say, and even me, because I'm very territorial, I don't want my man telling no other woman that their bum looks nice. Yeah. So as a married man, do you think that's okay to be telling another woman while you're married that she's
Well, the parameters
nice?
of my marriage are my business, right? But what I will say is, like, I've been out with my missus, you know, where we can see someone, I'll be like, hey, that girl's got a nice bum. And she goes, yeah, it is nice. Or she's like, oh, that guy's attractive. And I'm like, which one? This brother here. Let me just get, nah, joke. But, do you know, so my point is like, context. And this is what she said to me the other day. What people don't know about you is you're pretty much the same with me as without me. Obviously, if I'm with my mates, I might say a thing that I might not say if she's there. I'm with my mates, of course. Like, and that doesn't make it right or wrong, or you know, maybe you think, oh, I shouldn't. But I'm pretty much. I will be out with her, and we'll see someone, and you know, a jogger run past, and she'll be like, "You see her boobs?" I'll be like, "Yeah." It's not like we're out there preying on people together. It's just like we're adults. See someone that she appreciates or I appreciate or whatever. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not like, yeah, I saw them and I'm following the woman down in the bushes and trying to grope her up and all this stuff. So this stuff hit me because if I'm honest with you, to your point when you started the thing, looking the way I do and being where I'm from, because class is a factor as well, yeah? Being where I'm from and looking the way I do, I thought I was flying straight. Because I know that they're after us.
Right.
I know that there's any opportunity to bring someone like me or you or like to knock us off our pedestal. I know that. I've always known that was a thing that happens.
Right.
Excuse me. Especially when you look like. I've always known that. I thought I was flying straight. This is the ironic thing.
Which I think is, if I'm looking at it as well, I'm like,
that doesn't mean I was perfect.
no, but this is what I'm saying.
I thought I was.
Also, if I look at things as how I know we are as, like we're saying, as black people, the black men are 9 times more likely to be stopped by the police. We know that in the system, you are judged more harshly than your white counterparts.
100%.
But the allegations had immediate consequences. He stepped away from social media for about a year. His production company work and TV projects suffered collateral damage. Bulletproof was dropped by its broadcaster. Viewpoint was pulled from the air. BAFTA suspended his membership, and he faced industry blacklisting. Clarke later claimed losses of between 10 and 70 million. So Clarke sued The Guardian and related parties in a high court libel and data protection action, challenging 7 articles and a podcast and seeking substantial damages. Initially reported in the claim as up to 10 million, and later figures reported in a public discussion of up to 70 million. He alleged that the reporting had falsely labelled him a serial abuser, and he argued there was a conspiracy and grudges among accusers, driven partly by #MeToo dynamics. Clarke's team made aggressive pre-trial allegations, including claims that journalists had deleted and fabricated evidence. A High Court judge rejected an attempt to strike out The Guardian's defence, finding no perversion of the process and allowing the case to proceed. The defendants, The Guardian, prepared extensive witness material in support of their defence of truth and public interest. The liability trial took place in the High Court and ran for approximately 6 weeks, from early March to mid-April 2025. The trial considered whether The Guardian's articles were substantially true and whether publication was in the public interest. The Guardian served dozens of witness statements and called many witnesses to give evidence in support of its reporting. Clarke also put witnesses and arguments to courts and tribunals judiciary. The Guardian served 34 witness statements and indicated it planned to call the bulk of those witnesses at trial. The court heard from around 26 witnesses who were alleged victims or direct witnesses of the behaviour reported, together with journalists and other witnesses in support of the public interest defence. Many witnesses described repeated, often humiliating workplace incidents, and some described episodes that they said involved coercion, sharing of explicit images without consent, and threats that harmed career prospects. The court also considered contemporaneous documents, messages, and other evidence presented by both sides. Several named witnesses were prominent in reporting at trial. For example, actress Ying Lucy gave evidence describing alleged propositioning and how Clarke allegedly used a narrative about Adam Deacon, a former colleague who later had legal trouble with Clarke, as an implied threat to silence her. She described being told that if she spoke out, her career would be harmed in the same way Adam Deacon's had been. During cross-examination, she was questioned about WhatsApp groups, Zoom calls, and a spreadsheet that defence counsel suggested showed coordination.
There is a conspiracy against Noel Clarke. After watching another witness, actress Ying Lucy, giving evidence today his libel case against the Guardian newspaper, I'm more convinced than ever. Ying, first of all, denied knowing another witness in the case, but then was presented with evidence that they were in the same WhatsApp group together. So then she turned around and admitted that they had been privately messaging each other. She also admitted being part of Zoom calls. When asked about a spreadsheet that was in existence, first of all she stuttered and couldn't respond, and then admitted that she did know or maybe knew about the existence of a spreadsheet. A pattern that continued when asked about anything about Zoom calls, WhatsApp groups, the existence of this spreadsheet, yet was very clear on other factors that she remembered. She then admitted speaking freely about the criminal conviction of Adam Deacon and how Noel Clarke had somehow played a role in ending his career. And surprise, surprise, she had worked with Adam whilst filming a film together. Adam Deacon again be involved in his trial.
Under cross-examination, she admitted to some involvement in messages and calls, but maintained the core of her testimony about Clarke's behaviour. The judge and trial record set out detailed findings of those interactions. Guardian journalists gave evidence about their reporting process. Clarke's team attempted to undermine the reporting, alleging the deletion of messages and fabrication, but the court rejected claims of deliberate perversion of evidence or bad faith by journalists. The judge found the journalists had acted within acceptable bounds of investigation and had put material to the defendant for response. court noted difficulties in historical harassment cases. For example, people's memories, delays in coming forward, and the sensitivity of the matters, but nonetheless evaluated the totality of the witness testimony and documentary evidence. Clarke testified for several days, denying sexual misconduct, characterizing much of what happened as misunderstood cheekiness or behavior that had been normal in past years, and insisting that some incidents were consensual or misremembered. He portrayed himself as a victim of a media-driven trial by ordeal and said that the fallout had destroyed his work, saved projects, and his business. Bulletproof productions cancelled, shows pulled, deals lost, and personal savings drained. On the 22nd of August 2025, the High Court handed down its judgment and dismissed Clarke's libel claim, upholding the Guardian's defences of truth and public interest. The judgment ran to over 200 pages and concluded that many of the allegations made against Clarke was substantially true and that he had engaged in unwanted sexual conduct and bullying across an extended period. The judge found Clarke was often an inconsistent and unreliable witness and rejected the idea that the complaints were part of a conspiracy against him. Key findings recorded by the court included that A. Allegations of unwanted sexual conduct, allegations of unwanted sexual touching, inappropriate comments, and bullying were substantiated in many particulars. B. The reporting was in the public interest. C. The evidential case put forward by the defendants was sufficient enough to prove substantial truth of the pleaded meanings. And D. The claimant's broader conspiracy narrative was implausible in light of the witness and evidence. The judgment praised many of the complainants and found aspects of the defendants' reporting to be based on credible witness testimony. Following the judgment, the Guardian sought recovery of its legal costs. The subsequent hearing, the court ordered Clarke to pay an initial sum of $3 million on account of the defendant's costs within a fixed period of 28 days, with the Guard estimating its total recoverable cost to be significantly in excess of $6 million. Clarke asked the court to hold payment pending an appeal. The court made the initial costs order, while noting further detailed assessment would follow. In post-judgment written submissions and at the costs hearing, Clarke said that he had lost his legal team because of an inability to pay, had remortgaged his home, and said he had used AI tools. He told the court hearing that he had used ChatGPT to help prepare some of his written responses when he was representing himself. This was reported in the coverage of the cost hearings. Clarke sought to challenge the scale of the costs order and asked for time for the repayments to be stayed pending appeal. He also indicated serious financial and personal consequences flowing from the judgment. The ruling was widely reported as a landmark for victims and for investigative journalism. Commentators and groups supporting victims hailed the decision as vindication for those who came forward. Press freedom advocates also described the outcome as a significant endorsement of public interest reporting in #MeToo era cases, while some industry voices discussed the chilling effects of libel litigation and the balance between reputational risk and the public interest.
Despite allegedly being asked for sex by Noel in 2018, Jing Lucy did not go to the police to give a statement until 2021 and denied knowledge of anyone else giving statements to the police, despite 5 others simultaneously, coincidentally, giving evidence at the same time, and there being emails between the Guardian newspaper and another witness about her speaking to other witnesses. And then a recording got played in court where Jing was angrily talking about Noel winning a BAFTA and said that he only won it because he was a black man and he was ticking boxes. If I hadn't come down to watch this trial for myself, I don't know whether I would actually believe the things that I am watching, but without a doubt, Noel Clarke is being stitched up.
Michaela Cole and other public figures had earlier voiced support, saying that speaking out about these incidents takes a lot of strength and that such behaviours are not grey areas but are damaging and serious. Separately from the civil libel proceedings, there have been references to a Metropolitan Police investigation with potential offences. The police have at times investigated and at other times closed inquiries when evidential thresholds were not met. The High Court judgment and later press reporting also noted ongoing police interest in some matters, but the civil court judgment itself concerned the truth and public interest defences in libel law rather than criminal guilt or conviction. And the standard proof differs between the criminal and civil processes. The net result is that after a 6-week trial, the court dismissed Clarke's libel claim, concluding many of the reported allegations were substantially true, found the defendants' reporting to be in the public interest, and ordered significant costs against Clarke, leaving him with heavy financial liability and a lasting legal defeat. If you're still with me, don't forget to drop a like. See if you can get back from this one, and I'll see you in the next one.
As a black man, in the system that we are, for me, it's very interesting that you've not been arrested.
Right.
Because with all the information here, I would at least expect that the police would have been like, hi, no, can we have a quick word with you, please?
Come, let's have a chat.
Especially as a black man,
right?
Class, like you're saying.
So what does that tell you?
And whatever. I mean,
what does that tell you?
It's interesting. That's what I think it tells me.
So what I was saying again, back to that, it is interesting, but was like, I thought I was, I know what people have seen, I know what people have read. And again, this is probably the warmest anyone's ever seen me, because I am detached and I am quite like I've always been like that, right? But I thought I was flying straight. And what I mean by that is I never thought I was perfect, and I'm not perfect, because even Christians and God-fearing people do things that everyone, their friends are like, yeah? Christian, yeah? Right, so I don't drink. I don't take no drugs. I don't even smoke weed. I don't go out and party. I'm not out there like grabbing up batties. I never did any of that. I went to work. We talk about what it done to me. Work was my life. I went to work. I busted my ass. I came home. Spent time with my kids. I went to work. I busted my ass. I came home. That's generally all I did. That's why I challenge you at events and all that, because you might be right, but I barely went out. I wasn't really doing this stuff. So yeah, I'm imperfect. I've made mistakes. I might have said this, that, there. I might have spoke to someone harsh. That don't make you a bully. Doesn't make you a sexual predator. Doesn't make you an abuser. Makes you a human being. Makes you a human being. Because everyone makes mistakes and everyone, you know what I mean? But you get judged more harshly. I genuinely, the things I've seen make me know that I was flying straight. Because I've seen people not fly straight.
Right.
Out of this business and in this business.
One thing
but they wanted to make me the scapegoat.